On the outside, the Swift sports a sleek and modern design. Suzuki have introduced a new Horizon design line that wraps around the vehicle, creating a sense of motion. Rounded shoulder lines give it a sporty edge, while the iconic Suzuki badge proudly sits at the front of the bonnet. Lower headlight positions and L-shaped daytime running lights not only enhance visibility, but also add a touch of sophistication. And check out those clear rear tailgate lights.
A LISTNR production.
Hi, I'm James Royce with a local news update. The Professional Standards Command is investigating a man's death in Traralgon over the weekend. Officers were called to Moore Street shortly before 1 o'clock yesterday morning after receiving reports of the man's erratic behaviour. Shortly after being arrested, he became unresponsive and died at the scene. Homicide detectives are now also involved. Well, investigations continue into the cause of a crash at Druin that has left a 48-year-old man with serious injuries. Brett Thomas has more.
The Warrigal man was behind the wheel of a silver Holden Barina that rolled down an embankment on the Princes Freeway before bursting into flames on Friday night. He was airlifted to hospital in a serious condition. Earlier, witnesses reported seeing that Barina driving alongside another Holden in Druin CBD. Police are now appealing for that Holden's driver to come forward.
Some extra help is on its way for Gippsland paramedics, with Ambulance Victoria sending 10 recruits to the region as it deals with a spike in demand over the winter months. This includes 2 for Moe and Warrigal and 1 each for Traralgon, Churchill, Korumburra, Morwell, Druin and Sale. Ambulance Victoria Chief Jordan Emery expects them to be a big help.
This will be a welcomed boost to our paramedics working right across the state.
And some welcome rain is on the forecast for the week, with between 2 and 7 millimetres expected across Gippsland tomorrow. Michael Efron at the Bureau says there will then be a break before more wet conditions soak the region from Friday.
With potentially around 15 to 30 millimetres in some areas as well. So would be very welcome rainfall given how dry it has been.
Ambulance Victoria has announced that new paramedics will hit the road from this week, delivering life-saving care to every corner of the state. 10 will be calling Gippsland home, with 2 located at Moe and Warrigal, while other locations include Morwell, Sale, Traralgon and Churchill. Acting Premier Jacqueline Symes says these paramedics want to give back to the community.
Celebration of 59 graduates. This is a representative of the very best of Victorians. You listen and you ask questions from the graduates about why they are doing this, what motivated them, and the strong message is that they want to give back to their community. They want to care for the community, and I couldn't be more proud of the people that are graduating today and will soon be out in all parts of Victoria.
With only 11 days remaining of July, many Gippsland and the Valley residents have given up the booze and other luxuries, all part of Dry July. Money raised goes towards cancer support services, of which there are services in Gippsland. CEO of the Dry July Foundation, Gillian Odbert, says there is still time to get involved.
It's definitely not too late to join. You know, we hear from many participants that going dry is being able to take some power in a powerless situation and also to be able to pay it forward to others. So there is still plenty of time to get involved, donate and do something that's really great for yourself and for others. So simply visit Dry July for more information, updates and inspiration on how to take part and make a difference.
Homicide Squad detectives are investigating the circumstances surrounding an incident in Traralgon on Sunday morning where a man became unresponsive following his arrest and subsequently died. Catherine Hallinan reports.
Police were called to a Moore Street home just before 1 a.m. to reports of a man acting erratically. The man was arrested outside his residence but became unresponsive shortly after and died at the scene. The cause of the death is yet to be determined, and anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers on 1-800-333 000. Catherine Hallinan, Ace Radio.
Emergency services were called to East Sale Airport yesterday afternoon following reports of an aircraft in trouble. CFA District 10 Commander Gary Bryant says the pilot walked away.
We were able to communicate with the pilot and told him he was clear to land. He did his 5-mile approach and landed. The front nose wheel did collapse, but without sustaining any more than some damage from the front wheel coming back up onto the plane itself, but the pilot was able out of his aircraft as soon as it came to a stop.
The Nationals member for Morwell, Martin Cameron, is encouraging local community and volunteer groups to apply for the 2025-26 Community Food Relief Program local grants. Natalie Anderson reports.
Mr Cameron is urging eligible groups to apply, given the important work local community and volunteer groups provide across our region to people in need. Groups eligible for funding include neighbourhood houses, community and volunteer-led organisations, along with social enterprises. Applications for the 2025-2026 Community Food Relief Program local grants close on August 19. Natalie Anderson, Ace Radio.
Federal member for Gippsland, Darren Chester, has called out the state and federal transport ministers after a repeatedly urgent request to fix a dangerous section of the Princess Highway. Mr Chester says the ministers have blood on their hands.
Sadly, both the state and federal transport ministers have blood on their hands when it comes to these road trauma events on the highway between Swan Reach and Lakes Entrance. They've been warned repeatedly now for several years about the number of crashes, and they've done nothing to address the unsafe conditions on one particular stretch of road. And at a time when there's more road deaths and trauma increasing right across Victoria, it is staggering that the Allan Labor government and the Albanese Labor government have not provided new money to upgrade the Princess Highway.
Member for Eastern Victoria, Harriet Shing, last week visited Latrobe Valley Village to view progress on new worker housing, which is being delivered through the Regional Worker Accommodation Fund. Emma Clark reports.
Works are well underway to retrofit an unused wing of Latrobe Valley Village's residential aged care building into 7 new self-contained units for workers. The units will be finished by the end of the year, providing housing for international workers and filling a vital gap in skilled health and aged care roles. Minister Shink says the government is proud to support Latrobe Valley Village with these new homes, which will support the placement and training of health and aged care workers. Emma Clark, Ace Radio.
The wild winds that have battered much of the state overnight should ease this afternoon and into this evening. However, severe weather warnings remain in place for parts of the West and South Gippsland, Northern Central and Northeast forecast districts. Both Mount Buller and Mount Hotham have picked up 120k gusts overnight. Falls Creek and Mount William have clocked 113k gusts. They are also experiencing blizzard conditions. Well, it's back to Canberra today for our federal MPs, with Parliament sitting for the first time since Labor's huge election defeat in May. Nationals MP for Gippsland, Darren Chester, says despite the coalition's poor showing at that poll, he'll do his best to make sure Victoria isn't left behind.
My absolute priority is making sure that we get a fair go when it comes to things like investing in better community infrastructure like our roads, our rail, airports, but also community facilities, and then also ensuring that we see investment in the critical services that regional people need.
While Nichols MP Sam Birrells admits the coalition doesn't have the numbers it would have liked.
But we'll just have to do our best to hold the government to account and to work through policies that we can take to the next election so that people have a genuine choice.
To other news, Victoria takes another step forward towards stricter gambling rules from September, with a trial of mandatory account-based gaming beginning across some LGAs, although none in Gippsland or the Goulburn Valley. If successful, though, it would require all patrons to use a Your Play card to set loss limits and track spending on poker machines.
This Friday, students from Nagle College will be planting around 1,000 trees as part of National Tree Planting Day. The school has a long history with the event. However, after a 5-year hiatus, the students are keen to get back to work. Banjo Jackson, college captain, says all students will be involved.
So we're going to go to the Nagle College rainforest, which will be up on the hill. And that's a rainforest that was created quite a few years ago as an effort to regenerate the local environment, and it'll be from all year levels 7 to 12. We might have some councillors there, we'll have the East Gippsland Shire there, and we'll have decorated tree guards to go around all the plants.
The East Gippsland Catchment Management Authority, along with Parks Victoria, are planning to open the Lake Tyers Estuary today. This time round, the opening will be done manually rather than a machine, with around 15 to 20 people ready with shovels in hand. Beck Hemming, CEO, says they don't want a repeat of last time.
The reason why we've chosen to do an artificial opening this time is we don't want a repeat of what we had last time, where the estuary had filled up. Now our community was impacted, and then it was left for so long and the water quality started to deteriorate. So this time we thought we'll just get in and open it.
With visitors heading to the snowfields, including Mount Bawbaw, Victoria Police have been out in force, all part of a major operation. Liam McCullough reports.
Operation Eastern Snow has seen a high police presence on the roads leading into ski fields. Buses and heavy vehicles are a major focus during the operation, with police working alongside Safe Transport Victoria and the National Heavy Vehicle Regulator. With the operation set to continue throughout the remainder of the snow season, police are reminding motorists travelling to drive to the conditions. Liam McKellar, Ace Radio.
Gippsland concession card holders who are relying on alternative energy sources are being left in limbo by the Victorian government's mismanagement of the non-mains energy concession. Some residents are having to wait up to 5 months for reimbursements while facing soaring heating costs. Gippsland East Nationals MP Tim Bull says Labor's handling of the scheme has left families without essential support during the coldest months of the year.
Families who depend on wood heating, gas bottles and other non-mains energy sources who are concession card holders are eligible for this. They shouldn't be having to wait more than 5 months for this money that they're entitled to, and we're asking the government to get its house in order and make sure they process these payments in a much quicker fashion.
Police are investigating a burglary that's occurred at a Gormandale business on June 28. It's believed the offender entered the Highland Highway premises around 6:23am, searching through drawers, cupboards and the till before fleeing when an alarm sounded. The suspect is described as Caucasian, stocky with a shaved head, wearing a green windsheeter and black pants. An image of a person of interest has been released on the iWatch Wellington Police Service Area Facebook page. Anyone with information is urged to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. The Victorian Government has announced the latest round of funding through the Sporting Club Grants Program. Emma Roberts reports.
Member for Eastern Victoria, Harriet Shing, announced that a number of local groups will receive funding, including the Traralgon and Churchill Scout groups, who will use the grant to improve their equipment and camping facilities. The Gippsland Go-Karts will use their grant for first aid kits, and the Moe Newborough Baseball Club will be purchasing new junior equipment. Minister Shing says there are so many clubs that bring people of all ages and abilities together. Emma Roberts, Ace Radio.
New research from the Australia Institute confirms the $13 billion that Australians lose on pokies each year is money they cannot afford. They've crunched the numbers and found that a safe amount to lose on poker machines individually is around $300 a year. However, the losses for problem gamblers are nudging the $2,000 mark. For context, South Gippsland players pour more than $7 million into the pokies annually. In Balbor, that spend is almost $20 million. In Shepparton, it is close to $43 million. Sky Prenovic from the Institute says it is ruining people's lives.
That looks like putting people at risk of going into debt to pay for their gambling, selling their personal items to pay for their gambling, as well as having negative effects on their relationships, on their mental health, all of these things. It can have really big damage on people.
The day has arrived with the state's top tourism town to be named at a ceremony later on in Shepparton. Delegates from right across the state have gathered in the Goulburn Valley for a series of panels, presentations and networking opportunities before the winner is revealed. Mayor Shane Sully says the city has well and truly earned its hosting rights.
We've definitely advanced ourselves. We know Museum of Vehicle Evolution do an exceptional job in tourism, and so does the Shepparton Art Museum, as well as other great offerings in and around our city. You know, we're obviously becoming a really destination hub now.
And some sobering stats to mark the midweek point of Farm Safety Week, with Agriculture Victoria revealing the sector accounts for 14% of the state's workplace fatalities, despite employing just 2% of the workforce. It's responded by launching a new podcast called Farming Safe and Well. The group's Claire Purcell says it explores a range of engaging topics.
Some of the podcast episodes focus on fatigue management, safe livestock handling, supporting youth mental health, and an inclusive approach to farming with a disability.
An alleged ram raid around 1:30 yesterday morning has left a local charity's premises severely damaged. The facility, which housed Christmas donations for a better life for foster kids, was not operational at the time. Police later apprehended 4 males and have charged all 4 with a string of offences and have been bailed to appear before Sale Magistrates Court on the 4th of November. According to founder Heather Baird, the damaged stock will need to be destroyed.
With that, all the glass has gone onto all of our stock that we had in the front of the shop, so that will have to all be discarded, because we cannot possibly risk a slither of glass being in amongst the presents for the children. I had a chance to set the shop up properly. I have got no contents insurance at the moment, so it just will be thrown out.
The Good Friday appeal has announced that funding is heading to a number of local health services, which will deliver care improvements to children and families. $600,000 will go towards services in Bairnsdale, Latrobe, South Gippsland, Wellington, East Gippsland and Baw Baw. Rebecca Cowan, Executive Director of the Good Friday appeal, says they're excited to provide funding to help locals.
It's all about kids receiving care closer to home and helping to build capability in the regions, and we really feel that this is the second year that the Good Friday appeal is able to provide funding not just to the Royal Children's Hospital but to regional health services across the state as well.
Latrobe Crime Investigation Unit are currently investigating an attempted burglary at a licensed premises in Morwell. Natalie Anderson reports.
On the 11th of July, around 7:10 a.m, a male was caught by staff attempting to break into the building and fled in an older model red sedan. Detectives are appealing for any witnesses, CCTV or dashcam footage which may capture the offending vehicle. Anyone with information is urged to contact Latrobe Crime Investigation Unit or Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. Natalie Anderson, Ace Radio.
Farm Safe Australia is highlighting the impact of near misses on farms this National Farm Safety Week. Chair Felicity Richards says most farmers have experienced a close call.
Almost every farmer I speak to, or indeed visitor or person who's lived and experienced being on a farm, has a moment where their heart skipped a beat. Sometimes it's far more than that, but so often it's a moment they've experienced where they thought, gee, that was close. Something might have happened. A minor injury could have been more serious. There could have even been tragic consequences. Our Second Chances campaign is about saying, let's not waste those moments. Let's reflect on them. Let's make sure we do things differently. Let's make sure we never have the serious or the tragic consequences.
Australian Red Cross and Ford will host a Community Resilience Day in Bairnsdale on Saturday, launching a new Australian Red Cross Community Readiness campaign for East Gippsland. The event, which takes place at the Peter Dullard Motor Group, will bring together locals, emergency services and community leaders to strengthen disaster preparedness and resilience across the region. Fiona Norton, Senior State Manager for Victoria's Red Cross, says there's something for everyone.
There'll be some preparedness sessions. Our very popular kids show, Prepare with Ted, that's running at 11 a.m. That's one not to miss. We're also doing a Red Cross clothing drive, so encouraging folks to bring down their pre-loved clothing donations on the day, and maybe best of all enjoy some of Red Cross's world famous baked goods, along with some additional food and some community stalls as well.
With the new federal parliament sitting this week, federal member for Gippsland, Darren Chester, has outlined a list of priorities he wants the Albanese government to deliver for the region. Mr Chester says he'll be holding the government to account to ensure locals aren't left behind.
Nothing has really changed since the election. Many families are still doing it tough, and the Labor Party continues to waste money on big city projects. Sadly, under Prime Minister Albanese, the Labor Party has become a 100% city-focused party, which has neglected our regional roads, our health services, aged care and childcare. So I'll make no apology for calling out the Prime Minister if we don't get a fair share of funding for the people who live, work and visit Gippsland. We pay our fair share of taxes, we keep the country moving, and we deserve a fair go from the government regardless of which party is in power.
East Gippsland Shire Council has confirmed the next phase of construction at the Paynesville Slip Road Maritime Precinct. Mayor Councillor John White says work should be completed early next year.
We're pleased to announce the next step in the Slip Road Maritime Precinct upgrade. A contract variation has been awarded to progress construction of the car park and drainage infrastructure, making the site more resilient and functional. This project supports our marine industries, enhances local infrastructure and is on track for completion in early 2026.
Victoria Police members from Wellington Highway Patrol and Yarram Uniform conducted Operation Winter Shield in the Yarram Police Service area over the weekend. Emma Roberts reports.
Police have intercepted 59 vehicles during a targeted operation focused on unsafe vehicles and dangerous driving through Yarram. The high-visibility operation saw 3 drivers lose their licences for drug driving, while another is set to face the Magistrates Court after refusing to complete an oral fluid test. 5 vehicles were impounded due to licence-related offences, and 2 more drivers will appear in court for failing to undergo a breath test. Emma Roberts, Ace Radio.
The mushroom trial is already making its way from the courtroom to the bookshelf. Just over 2 weeks since Aaron Patterson was convicted of 3 murders and 1 of attempted murder, 2 books are now on pre-sale. Literacy expert Alice Grundy from the Australian National University says both titles are due for release later this year.
It is lightning fast by publishing standards. So Hachette signed their book deal back in, I think it was April 2024, and we had an announcement for an Allen and Unwin book that came up the day after the trial, and you will have seen that there were covers for both of those books the day after the trial.
Detectives from Balbor CIU and Morwell Divisional Response Unit members took 3 teens into custody in Traralgon yesterday afternoon. Pat Gordon has more.
3 teenagers have been arrested after an alleged police pursuit on the Strzelecki Highway. Officers first spotted a red Mazda CX-3 at 2:17 p.m, which failed to stop when directed. Stop sticks were used to deflate the tyres, but the vehicle allegedly kept going towards Leongatha, eventually colliding with a police car and crashing into a barrier. No one was injured. A 16-year-old has been remanded to appear before a children's court. A 15 and 14-year-old were released pending further inquiries. Pat Gordon, Ace Radio.
Despite the Victorian Government's controversial emergency services and volunteer levy having raised an extra $500 million, CFA volunteers claim their funding has actually been reduced by roughly $9 million. Volunteer Fire Brigades Victoria Chief Executive Adam Barnett says volunteer firefighters are horrified that their worst fears have been confirmed.
The promise of the government was that every single dollar raised from this tap would go to frontline emergency services. So as you can imagine, CFA volunteers have been horrified to, confirm our worst fears. That far from that promise, 30% of that tax is now being diverted away from fire services and going to fund other entities, including government departments.
As we continue International Farm Safety Week, parents and guardians across Gippsland and the Valley are being urged to take immediate steps to reduce the risk of children drowning on farms. Parents and landholders are reminded to stay vigilant, even in times of drought or low rainfall, and be alert of water hazards, including dams. Sarah Sexton, Kids Safe Victoria CEO, says farming properties have several unique risks when it comes to children and water.
So farms are unlike many other environments, as they're often both a home and a workplace, which means that children can be exposed to hazards that you wouldn't typically find in suburban home settings. So whether families are living on farms or regional properties or are just visiting for the day, it's really important that they're aware of the risks to children.
An investigation is underway into jury protection during the Erin Patterson trial. After it emerged, jurors were housed in a hotel alongside journalists, prosecutors and detectives, without the judge or defence being informed. Victoria's Juries Commissioner is probing the incident, but efforts to review CCTV footage have stalled after the hotel confirmed those recordings were erased. A severe weather warning's in place for damaging winds as this huge cold front approaches the regions. The alert is in place for parts of the central, all Gippsland, north central and northeastern forecast districts. Conditions should ease by mid-tomorrow morning. The state's peak tourism body has congratulated Shepparton for its hospitality during this week's Top Tourism Town Awards. Warrnambool took the overall honours, with Mount Beauty crowned as the state's top small tourism town. Chris Porter from the Victorian Tourism Industry Council says Shepparton put on a great event.
Shepparton have done an amazing job. It's actually been a fantastic couple of days here. We've been able to really get in and actually see some of their great venues, from the Shepparton Art Museum to where we had our award ceremony at Move, the Museum of Vehicle Evolution. It was such a unique venue and really speaks to what regional tourism has to offer.
More than 420 offences have been detected during a major road blitz targeting drivers heading to Mount Buller as part of Operation Eastern Snow. Speeding, unregistered vehicles, drug and drink driving and heavy vehicle breaches were among the offences recorded over 4 days last weekend, with similar figures reported the previous weekend near Falls Creek and Mount Hotham.
Wellington Shire Council wants to hear from you in relation to places where you play, walk, rest and explore. Sam College reports.
Council is planning the next decade and is inviting the community to have their say on how the open spaces, playgrounds, parks and more are used, enjoyed and maintained. The Open Space Planning Officer will be at the Gippsland Centre Sale tomorrow from 9 till 12 and Flooding Creek Linear Reserve in Sale on Sunday 10 till 12. If you are unable to attend any of these sessions, you can fill out the online survey through the Council's website. Sam College, Ace Radio.
Latrobe Community Health Service has honoured its top performers at its annual Staff Achievement Awards held at the Prince Hotel in Melbourne. More than 70 team members from across Victoria and New South Wales gathered to celebrate those who went above and beyond over the past financial year. Winners were recognised across 4 categories: Service Excellence, Annual Achievement, Excellence in Leadership and the prestigious Employee of the Year. Kath Bateman from Gippsland, a nurse practitioner candidate specialising in sexual and reproductive health, took home Employee of the Year. Kath support patients across 3 GP clinics, providing care in a number of areas. Latrobe City Council is beginning to work on a new customer experience and communication strategy and are seeking your input. Natalie Anderson reports.
Council wants to better understand how the community experiences Council's customer service and communications. For taking part in the 10-minute survey, you go into the draw to win one of 4 $50 Latrobe City gift cards. All responses are anonymous and all data gathered through the process will be de-identified. Further details head to your Say section on the Council's website. Natalie Anderson, Ace Radio.
Police are investigating the circumstances surrounding a collision in Sale on Sunday the 20th of July. It's understood around 10:30am an unidentified vehicle collided with the left side of a local business on York Street, causing structural damage to the building. Police seek to identify either the vehicle or driver involved in the incident. Anyone who witnessed the collision has information or CCTV dashcam footage that could assist investigators is urged to contact Sale Police or Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000. The Victorian Tourism Industry Council recently held their annual Victorian Top Tourism Town Awards. Emma Roberts reports.
Gippsland was represented with Lakes Entrance named as a finalist in the top tourism town population over 5,000 alongside Swan Hill, Shepparton, Bendigo and Mildura. Although Lakes Entrance didn't win, the town was honoured to be named as a finalist. Warrnambool took out the top spot from Ballarat and Echuca. Emma Roberts, Ace Radio.
Member for Gippsland South, Danny O'Brien, is consistently receiving messages from small business owners who are being hit by crime, with many scared and frustrated. According to the latest figures from the Crime Statistics Agency, retail crime across the Wellington, South Gippsland and Latrobe local government areas increased by more than 35%. Mr O'Brien says more work needs to be done by Spring Street.
We really need the state government to be providing more resources to our police. Our retailers in country towns right around Gippsland are really suffering at the moment. There's so many shop thefts, break-ins, burglaries, and most recently a terrible one where a local charity was targeted. The state government just hasn't put enough effort into our police. We've got 1,100 vacancies at the moment across the state.
A major milestone for a Wellington Shire resident who has dedicated 35 years of service to the community. Sam College reports.
Joy Peverell has been a school crossing supervisor since May 1990, helping students cross safely every school day, rain, hail or shine. Over the years, she's come to know generations of families and has been the heart behind many annual celebrations for her fellow supervisors. Council marked the milestone with a morning tea in Council Chambers, where Mayor Councillor Scott Rossetti thanked Joy for her incredible contribution with a heartfelt speech, certificate and gift card. Sam College, Ace Radio.
The Victorian Government has announced that communities will be better protected from future flood impacts as Wellington Shire Council receive funding through the Regional Flood Risk Reduction Grants Program. Minister for Emergency Services and Natural Disaster Recovery, Vicky Ward, says they will continue to do what they can.
Now, there's been a significant amount of work done to rebuild communities after the floods we've seen over the last few years, and we'll continue to do what we can as a government to support residents, business owners and communities into the future. Supporting flood mitigation works will help communities plan ahead and minimise the impacts of these emergencies.
Over to sport now. Stephen May's facing at least 3 weeks on the sidelines for his head-high collision against Carlton on Saturday night. But Druin's Daisy Thomas reckons the Melbourne defender can consider himself unlucky.
Just looked like it was a bloody good 50-50 contest, and the fact that he was a touch taller than Francis Evans means that he got him a little bit higher with the shoulder to the face rather than it just being straight up the middle.
In sport, round 12 of East Gippsland football with Rod Twining.
Undefeated Lucknow plays second on the ladder Wyong. In a low-scoring game, the final score saw the Magpies kick 7-2-44 to defeat the Tigers 5-7-37. In the other games, Boysdale Baragong defeated Painesville by 110 points, Boston Rovers defeated Lindo by 24 points, and Stratford defeated Lakes Entrance by 58 points.
The Traralgon Harriers recently held their annual general meeting with the club announcing a new president in Giuseppe Marino and vice president Desley Gray, who will replace outgoing president Phil Mayer and Andrew Legg. Dave Barr, secretary, and Ann Bomber's treasurer were both reappointed for another term, the club saying on Facebook that it is an exciting new chapter for Harriers. Round 13 of Gippsland League football with wins to Warragul, Sale, Morwell and Traralgon. Leongatha sit atop of the ladder after a 2-point win against Moe. Leongatha's Ben Harding says it was a good win for the team.
Our one wood at the moment is just our contested ball. I think we're second in the comp for that. And Moe are quite good on the spread. They've got some real kind of, good users and always with that kind of aggressive ball movement. So we thought if we could beat them at the source in the middle, that was going to be our one wood today. And I think, credit to Red Bear and Hep, and they're just kind of Druid. They're just absolute bulls. So it was kind of good to get on the end of their good work.
And Gippsland and Goulburn Valley Football and Netball League players are among those who'll wear blue armbands this week as part of the TAC's Road Safety Round. They're doing so to honour the lives lost on our roads. Geelong's Paddy Dangerfield is one of the round's ambassadors and says those in the bush are at a higher risk.
Living rurally means that you're away from sporting or everyday schooling facilities. So it means you're in the car and it's with kids and there's distractors. And if you're in the car more than others, then you're at a greater risk.
With just one round remaining in the home and away season, Gippsland United Division 1 men's basketball team sit on top of the ladder following a win on Saturday night against Coburg. Gippsland led at every change, walking away with a 114-98 win. Jalen Wimberley continued to dominate with 34 points, Cody Tibbles with 20 and Michael Johns with 17. The side now travels on Sunday afternoon to Bulleen Templestowe Basketball Stadium to take on Bulleen with tip-off set for 3. Traralgon Amateur Basketball Association are celebrating with a number of their next generation stars making it to the 3-on-3 state championships later this year. In the under-13 age group, the team of Maddie, Lily, Estelle and Tessa. In the under-13 boys, the team of Zach, Angus, Jai and Mac, while Savannah, Avaya, Aisha and Aurora are also heading to the championships. And Mid-Gippsland football results with Rob Popplestone.
In the match of the round, it was last year's grand finalists who clashed with the reigning premiers Fish Creek, 25-point winners over Yanar. Ballara returned to the winners list with a 16-point win over Stony Creek. Newborough shocked top 4-side MDU, defeating the Demons by better than 2 goals. Tura continued their surge towards the top 6 when they defeated Tarwin by 7, and Thorpedale was strong, 40-point winners over Moore East.
The Gippsland League has released the leading goal kickers following round 13, with Moe Lions Ben Crocker with 63 goals, from Leongatha Paras Patrick Island with 39 and Morwell Tigers Brandon McDonald with 34. In the reserves, it's Moe's Brendan Holt leading the way with 28. Round 16 of Latrobe Valley Soccer League. In the men's competition, Traralgon City went down to Sale United 2-1. Moe United were big winners against Churchill 7-0. East Gippsland United 2 defeated Newborough Yallourn United 1, and Monash Soccer Club had a 3-3 draw against Traralgon Olympians. Meanwhile, in the women's competition, Sale United dominate proceedings against Traralgon City 4-0. Tyres SC defeated Newborough Yallourn United 5-2. Monash Soccer Club 1 defeated Traralgon Olympians 0, and Churchill United drew with Moe United 1-1. Gippsland boxer Max Reeves is still the Australian super middleweight champion after his fight on Saturday night. Coach Paul Carroll says it was over early.
Yeah, no, it was a really strong performance. He managed to catch him early in the first round and put him down twice, and finished him with a body shot. It was a late night, but got the job done early.
Former Gippsland Power product and Carlton footballer Sam Doherty has announced his retirement from AFL football following tomorrow night's game against Hawthorn at the MCG. Sam saying he wanted to finish his career on his terms.
It hasn't been easy. It hasn't been an easy decision. It hasn't been an easy career. It's taken a lot of hard work, had a lot of setbacks, but ultimately I feel like, the time's right for me. I've said a lot in the media that I want to finish on my own terms, and this week just feels like the right time to be able to do that.
The Latrobe Valley Junior Badminton Association will be hosting 2 come and try evenings, with the first being held on Friday the 1st of August, followed by Friday the 8th of August. Rackets will be available to use, and coaches will also be available to assist the juniors. Further details, including costs and contact numbers, can be found at the association's Facebook page. Round 14 in Gippsland League Netball on Saturday afternoon. Wonthaggi take on Sale. Warragul versus Traralgon. Maffra are at home against Bairnsdale. Druin versus Moe and Leongatha versus Morwell. C grade commences at 12:15. B grade at 1. And A grade at 2:35. And Gippsland Power are back in action on Saturday for Coates Talent League, with both matches being played at Morwell Recreation Reserve. The girls get underway from 11 when they take on Northern Knights, while the boys also take on the Knights commencing from 1.
Carlton coming up short in Wonthaggi hero Sam Doherty's farewell, going down to the Hawks by 24 points last night. Doherty and 200-game key defender Jacob Wiedering were both cheered off after the match. But Coach Michael Voss says they both deserve to win.
Oh, well, the result, disappointing. It came in, wanted to sort of create a pretty special memory of, two players that we hold in the highest of regard. Had huge impact on our football club.
Over 230 people from Victoria and New South Wales are set to take part in the first Pickleball Australia sanctioned tournament, which will take place from this morning and through the weekend at Gippsland Regional Indoor Sports Stadium. Players aged between 16 and 84 with different skill levels will take part, with play getting underway from 8 a.m. through until 6 p.m. Some big games tomorrow in Gippsland League football. In the seniors, Wonthaggi will be looking to bounce back following last weekend's loss when they take on Sale at home. It's 4th versus 3rd in the seniors when Warragul play host to Traralgon. Maffra will take on Bairnsdale. Druin are at Trafalgar Recreation Reserve taking on Moe, and Leongatha versus Morwell. And round 15 in the North Gippsland football tomorrow, TTU are at home against Yarram. Woodside take on Churchill. Cower versus Yallourn North. Glengarry versus South City. And Hayfield versus Gormandale. Under 18s getting underway from 10. Reserves from midday and seniors from 2:15. And that's the latest in local news and sport.
Unleash your vehicle's power beyond limits. Discover our exclusive range of Yuasa automotive batteries, engineered for unparalleled reliability and performance to power your journey like never before. Battery World. Power your passion.